closer approach, the buzzards lifted from the alder with heavy flapping, then soared in wheeling, dipping circles, heads cocked as they watched with black, beady eyes. Martell's horse laid the broad of its chest against a final barrier of willow and broke through into a little glade beyond, where, plain to the eye, were scattered the reason and cause of this gathering of furred and feathered scavengers. The remains of 4 beef carcasses cluttered the glade. Martell pulled up. The story was plain enough. Not too many hours before, yesterday afternoon or evening perhaps, these cattle had been butchered, hurriedly and wastefully. Only the loins and haunches had been taken, the balance left to the blowflies, the buzzards, and coyotes. Decomposition had not yet fully set in. This, mused Martell, was slow-elking if he had ever seen it. Any cow outfit butchering beef for its own legitimate use would not have killed 4 animals at once, nor would they have left so much good meat to go to waste. Considering the matter, Martell thumbed tobacco sack and paper from a pocket of his jumper and spun a cigarette into shape. It was while he was busy at this that the black horse swung an alert head, ears pricked. At the same instant Martell heard the muffled thump of hooves coming up along the creek, and then there was a voice calling, harsh and dominant. "The buzzards lifted out of that tallest alder just ahead. We'll have a look around there." Martell straightened slightly in his saddle, swung the black around so that it put his right side to the downstream approach. He lit his cigarette, alertness a cold spark in his eyes. They understood each other, Martell and his horse, for now, under the caressing pressure of its rider's hand, the big black gelding turned motionless as a statue, waiting out those approaching hooves. 4 riders broke through the willows at the lower end of the glade. At what they saw before them, they pulled in abruptly, and from the lips of their leader, a spare, leathery-faced man with a nearly white sickle mustache that framed a grim bear-trap mouth, burst words of bitter anger. "Knew it! Knew we'd find something like this, those damned settlers. So smug and self-righteous. More of the same old thievery. 4 good ones this time, slow-elked." The torrent of the speaker's anger broke off abruptly as his furious glance, sweeping the glade, came to rest on Martell and the statue-like black. For a moment he stared, then growled with savage authority. "Watch him, boys. Carp, come up with me." They came spurring up, this older man and the one who was younger and burly through the shoulders, with a thick neck and a ruddy intolerance all across a broad and blocky face. They set to a skidding halt in front of Martell, and the impact of their eyes was a hot, suspicious challenge. The older man's voice was like a whiplash. "What do you know about this?" Martell shrugged. "Not a thing, except that you are plainly right in calling it slow-elking. I got here only a couple of minutes before you rode in." "You're from where and going where?" This time it was no shrug that caused Martell's shoulders to swing restlessly, and his eyes darkened slightly as though brushed over with smoke. He jabbed a back-pointing thumb over his shoulder and a stabbing index finger ahead. "From there to there." "Not definite enough, not by a hell of a ways. What's your business around here?" It was the younger, burly-shouldered one who threw this blunt statement in question, and the hot intolerance of him burned in his words. Now the smoke did gather in Bruce Martell's eyes, and his tone, drawling before, turned brittle. "Let's ease up on the reins a mite. You," he looked at the older man, "got a right to be warmed up, if, as I figure, you owned this beef. Only don't jump at conclusions. But you," and here Martell switched his glance to the burly rider, "where I'm heading for and why is none of your damned affair. Do I make myself clear?" The burly one flushed angrily, leaned forward in his saddle. The older man snapped a harsh command. "Easy does it, Carp. Let me handle this."